We got Trail 4R in the shop today, and we're going to be installing some Old Man Emu BP-51 shocks onto Jade. This kit also has the brand new upper control arms that came out from Old Man Emu, and we're going to be installing those as well.
Perhaps you've never heard of Old Man Emu, or OME, but I'm sure you've heard of their parent company, ARB. ARB is a massive company from Australia that has been making off-road products since 1975. In 1988, they actually acquired the suspension company, OME, which was, or possibly is, the most advanced manufacturer of suspensions around the world. In 2015, OME released the BP-51 series, which offers the ultimate in both comfort and control, and that's what we're going to be installing today. The BP-51 is one of the most advanced shock absorbers today. Unlike other manufacturers, it allows on-vehicle adjustability for both rebound and compression. It also has advancements on the bypass design, letting a separate passage past the piston for the fluid to get to the bypass reservoir. This results in the ability for the shock absorber to provide the best of both worlds, letting you tailor your design of your vehicle for your individual needs while not sacrificing comfort. The BP-51 is a vehicle-specific design utilizing factory mounting locations, which means this install is going to be fairly simple and straightforward.
The overall goal of what we first need to get accomplished is removing this upper control arm. And to do so, we have to disconnect it from the spindle with this castle nut here. But before that, we need to pull these two bolts out of here. This one's a 10, this one's a 12. That's going to remove these brackets for the ABS line and your brake line, so that when all this comes apart, they're already going to be out of the way. Right here we have the spindle nut, which the ball joint goes through the spindle. That is a 19 millimeter, and to get that out, you actually have, there's a cotter pin in there, and it works really easy if you just have a screwdriver or a some needle nose, and you can just kind of pry it around the end, and it has this little hook on there that just clips into one of the grooves of the castle nut. So now what we can do is we undo this castle nut. Make sure not to take the nut all the way off, because we're just going to lower it down so there's a little bit of a gap in there. Now with the BFH, you just tap on the outside of your spindle, and then that should completely separate it. There it goes. All right, did you see how it dropped down right there and it got caught by the spindle nut? Now what we can do is we can take this spindle nut off, and we'll support this bracket. We'll probably actually zip tie the spindle back to something just to keep it all supported. So we can pull this apart now. This is a pretty cool tool from Gear Wrench. It just helps you pry these little clips out. So you just reach it underneath. I usually put my hand over it because it'll shoot it. It just pulls it right out. Now what we're going to do is we're going to loosen the pivot bolt. They're 19s, both ends. And then we're going to slide this out through the engine bay. And then the upper control arm will be free, and we'll be able to remove it down here. There we go. All right.
Hold this washer.
Yep, back.
Wiggle it.
There it is. Now, if it's easier, I can take it from down here. Got it. There we go. Upper control arm out, and the long ass pivot bolt is out. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take the shocks out, the strut out. We got to remove the 3 14 millimeters on the top, and then it's I believe it's a 19 on the bottom, and then we're going to show you our trick for removing this. That came right out. I don't know why it was that easy. That slid right out the bottom. All right, so what we're doing is we're pushing down with the pry bar here against the lower control arm and right behind the bushing, and that gives us a little bit of freedom to pull this out. Right to this. Oh, there we go. So here we are on the driver's side, and this is the KDSS system right here in the front. I'm gonna show you how to install the bracket up here first for the reservoir before we do put the shock in, just because it's gonna be a little bit more visual. It'll allow you guys to see it. So what we have to do is we're gonna have to loosen this bolt because the bracket's gonna go underneath here, and then we're gonna utilize this hole here and that hole there. Now let me show you what we have to do on the bracket. So here's the mounting bracket for the reservoir, and you'll see this slotted section is where we're gonna put behind this KDSS bolt. These two bolts here we're gonna utilize up here, and these bolts in this area are going to be for, that's gonna hold the reservoir on. You're gonna get a small M6 bolt, and we're gonna stick that through these top two sections here. I'm not gonna flip that around. And then I'm gonna put two washers on there, and then two nuts, and we're only gonna get these to finger tight. Okay, we're gonna set that aside for now. Now we're gonna loosen this guy up here.
So we actually messed up a little bit right here at this point, where the mounting bracket is not supposed to go behind the KDSS bracket. I thought so because the KDSS bracket has a little lip in this spot and it wasn't going to sit flat. But because of the issue that we found out later, pushed the KDSS forward, it was actually hitting the coils. So what you're going to need to do is remove the bolt, file down or grind down that KDSS bracket with that lip just a little bit so that you can fit the mounting bracket into place.
Then switching back to the 12 for the bottom one, we're gonna snug that bracket down now. So these two bolts that we've been leaving loose the whole time, there's this hoop that's gonna hold the reservoir on. The way that that works is there's these channels that you're gonna slide over the top here. You gotta line the bolt heads up, and then you're gonna cinch that down once we put the reservoir on, and that's gonna be your reservoir bracket. So what we're doing now is we're just gonna put the OME shock strut into place, and we're actually low enough to be able to do that. And we're gonna actually, this time, we're gonna add some shims on top just to give us a wee bit, oh, you just can't fit, can you? A wee bit more lift. We actually we drew a line right here on the two shims so you could see where they're gonna go. And I'm gonna line them up on top of that right now. And we'll just set it in there. Which, because we added some shims on here, we actually needed to go get some longer bolts for ourselves. And we'll just send that through. I can see the lines on the side right here, so I can line that up. There it is. All right, we got our digital torque wrench out here from Gear Wrench. We're going to 32 foot-pounds for these top strut bolts. You're not going to be able to get the back one unless you have a crow's foot. That guy's tight enough. There we go, 32 across the board. I'm gonna crank that guy down individually and just snug it tight. Since I don't have a crow's foot, that'll fit that. Now we're gonna mount the reservoir. All right, so to put the reservoir on here, we're actually gonna slide these bolts, or these bolts right here, into these slots for this holder. And then I found that kind of just sliding it to the end, you can actually thread this guy right up and inside. Then we can set it to where we want it. And then grabbing our 10mm box end wrench here, we can just tighten these up. There we go. Nice and tight. That's not slipping anywhere. Bracket's all in there. Tightening this guy down to 70 foot-pounds. This is the lower strut bolt. 71.2 actually. All right, driver's side done. Well, we got to put the upper control arm on now, and then we got to line up the spindle and put all that back together. So here on the upper control arm, the way that you put these washers is they kind of crown out there, and they have this bump on the top. So that bump goes against the upper control arm, and there'll actually be a gap in between the upper control arm and the washer where those hit. So make sure that you're setting that in the right position when these go on. This side's not as crucial as the one that's closer to the front. that's you're gonna have to make sure that that's correct when you first set the pivot bolt through. Another thing to take into account is make sure that the ABS line here is on the outside of the control arm and not on the inside. So setting this washer in the correct position when you're holding this upper control arm up, making sure that this ABS line's out of the way. I've got Tyler up top. Give me a hand. I'll slide the washer over the bolt first, and Tyler can slide it in place. All right, we're through. Nice. And setting this last washer on the back side and threading the nut on. I'm now gonna slide the upper control arm into the spindle, and I'm gonna thread the castle nut up into place. Take note of where the hole is on the bolt there, on the ball joint, so that you can know when you're torquing this down where you're gonna need to put the cotter pin back in. We're gonna torque this guy down to OEM specs, which is 82. We'll go just a little bit farther to get it. We can line that hole up. And we can feed the cotter pin through, tighten it up. So everything's together over here on this side. We've actually got the upper control arm in. We got it all bolted together, torqued down. I greased the Zert fitting up here in the top. I reinstalled this mud guard. The only thing that we have left to do is to torque the pivot bolt down, and you do that once the tire is on the rig and it's sitting under its own weight. I also loosened this air conditioning line, or this line right back here, maybe a brake line, to make room for us to get in there and torque. So once we get it all back together, we'll have to put this back in place. So we're torquing the pivot bolt down to 82 foot-pounds of torque. And it's nice to have 120 clicks on this torque wrench because it's a small area. What are we at? 81.1. 82.2. There we go. So here we are working on the back of the 4Runner. We're now going to remove these Falcon shocks on here on the end, and then we're going to have to pull out these springs that are underneath because the Old Man Emu kit comes with new springs and the really new cool reservoir shocks from them. So just removal time of these guys. It's a 19 up top for this on this kit and a 17 on the bottom. Factory is definitely going to be different. So here's my trick for the rear axle to get the spring out, is to get a bottle jack, and then you can go from the frame to where the bump stop is. This kit that we installed a while ago from Falcon has a bash plate on it, and it makes it super flat and really easy to use this bottle jack. And so now what that does is really frees up this the coil here. I might need to go up a little bit more, but it's getting dang close. I might actually use some spring compressors to get this out at this last fit because I'm having to crank this pretty good. But this is an excellent trick on how to get your coils out. Aha! Got it. Coil out. Oh, finally. Step 425 of this install. You're going to take the spring that you get from OME, and then you're going to put the spring seat on top of that facing down. So it's going to look like that. Now I'm going to use the coil compressors to compress this some more. Still, I have the bottle jack in here, and then I'm going to slide that in. One thing to take a note is where this pigtail is, and the slight reduction on the seat here on the axle is where that pigtail is going to end up. So when you're setting up your coil springs, you need to figure out what space is available for you. So when you set this up in there, you're not going to collide with anything. So let's do that now. So here we have the shock. It's upside down right now because I wanted to show you how these guards work. These little clips here will go over the end of these, the eyelet area, and there's 4 spots around here that you can put it, pretty much 90-degree options. For us, we're going to guard the front of the shock, so we're going to have it this way, but you don't actually install these until the shock is in place because you're going to need to throw the bolt in there. But you're going to wrap these guys around here, and then these guys slide up and over. These are tapered on the sides with these little flanges, and then these have the opposite flange wedge. So when you push this up and over, it's gonna lock itself up into place. So now what we're gonna do is we're going to install the shock into place. The reservoir is gonna point out towards the front, and it's gonna actually wrap in behind onto the bracket back there. So we're gonna slide this up into place first, and then we're gonna install the bracket behind. All right, so on the top here, we just have a regular bushing, and then there's this top hat that goes in it, and that's gonna go up into the hole. So we're gonna slide that up into place now. And then from there, we have another bushing, another top hat, and then we're gonna slide this over the axle. And Brandon over here is gonna lift up. Actually, I might be able to thread this on right now. Let's see, before you lift up. Yep, we can thread on the nut already up top, so it's not gonna slip anywhere. And that's I believe that's it's a 17 or a 19. But to get a good alignment, to get this bottom shock on, we're gonna have to go up a little bit. Go ahead, Brennan, lift. A few more. Hold there. And then I'm gonna use a rubber mallet just to slide it into place. So the bracket is gonna go here, kind of up by the exhaust on the underside of the frame behind the shock. Before I do that, I'm gonna slide these two tiny M8 bolts through. The M8 or M12? M8? Yep. I'm gonna slide these two tiny M8s through, and then add the washer and lock washer to the backside. Just leave them hand tight. You don't want to you can't really over tighten them right now because we're gonna add a bracket over the top of them, just like we did in the front. Then we'll use these M6s, and we're gonna thread up into the frame back here by the exhaust. There's already holes back there for us that we're just gonna thread into. 13 millimeter or ½ inch socket. We're using a 3/8 drive to suck this up into place. So this U slides over these little tiny bolts that we had set in there before, and they kind of just line up in these channels that you're gonna slide them into. You might have to rotate the bolt so it best lines up. And then we can slide the reservoir. That didn't work out well. So we're gonna slide the reservoir in first, and then we're gonna slide it over the bolts. So before we add the last step, which is pretty much the guards, we've got to torque down these bolts. This bottom one is a 17 millimeter, and it's 70 foot-pounds of torque. So on the top here, I don't have a crow's foot that fits this, at least not yet. And you're supposed to torque this guy down pretty tight as well. So I'm just gonna tighten it down till I see a few threads poking their heads through the nylon lock, and that should be sufficient. And now, like I told you guys before on how to set this guy up, we're gonna thread it in so it blocks the front of the shaft. So if any rocks are coming up at it, we'll be able to protect it. Make sure that these angles are going the right way. I was about to put it in upside down. So the last little step here is that we're gonna install these bump stops from Duro Bumps. They just thread right up and into place. They're a perfect match for factory positions. And they're an outstanding bump stop, so you should check them out for sure. These are just a 12 millimeter, and we'll thread them up into place. So there's the install. I hope you enjoy this upgrade that we did to Jade here with the OME BP-51 series. These shocks are awesome. They're big, they're beefy, and they look amazing. Added the Duro Bumps here on the rear because those things are gonna get, it's a great upgrade for bump stops that you can do. Now our last little steps are we're just gonna check the torque on the wheel spacers and then put the wheels on, and we are done. Thanks for watching this episode. Make sure that you follow Trail 4R and Snail Trail 4x4. And like always, my friends, don't forget, keep crawling.